If you remember at the beginning of the session, we talked about verbal and non-verbal. So here we're looking at non-verbal communication, body language, listening and silence. Okay, over the years, I think body language has become, a real sort of hot topic. Why do you think body language plays such an important part in when we're communicating?
It plays an important part because it is more impactful than the words and then the tone of voice. The problem with body language is that it can happen, just a little bit on the phone, because on the phone you can sense the changes in the tone. You can even guess that somebody is smiling, for example. But that's it. It stops there. Now, the body language is in addition to the verbal communication, and it's sometimes it takes over. I mean, it becomes more important than the words themselves, because it is widely recognized that the body doesn't cheat, it doesn't lie. There are things that you cannot avoid doing when you are in a certain situation. And there are lots of studies that have been done on body language. I'm not going to go into that now, but there are some examples of a certain movement or a certain activity that shows that people are interested or totally bored or negative. Okay. So this is the importance of body language. It allows you to understand much better what people are trying to convey to you.
I think the two images on the screen that we're looking at now, the slide, I think they sort of really, it says it quite well, the body language. You could actually read what one is thinking and the other one is trying to find out, perhaps. So I think it's actually quite a good example of the two images on the screen.
Yeah. Listening is processing in a superficial way. Okay? If there is something that is important to you, you will listen to it. If it's not, then you can put it aside. Listening actively is a bit more than listening. It's also part of the body language. It's also part of the message that you're sending. It's not only what you're receiving. Active listening is showing the other person that you are really listening to them. Yeah. So when we say eye contact is important in active listening, normally it should make sense to us. Okay, why would we talk about the eye instead of talking about the ear when we talk about listening? But it is important because it shows the other person that you care, that you are interested, and that you are making an effort to really understand that person. Yeah. This is why listening is also about, clarifying, asking questions, reformulating, etc., etc. It's about also trying to understand what is untold from the other side. Don't forget that the other party might also be very good at body language and active listening. So in that case, you have to also understand what they are saying and what they are hiding. Yeah. So you have to allow the others to talk and try to summarize and to understand, just to make sure that you got what you wanted and you got exactly what the other person has told you, what they wanted you to understand.
Okay. Silence, or here as it talks about the power of silence, is a powerful medium. I think for me, whenever I've ever been in meetings, especially with senior managers, if they use this type of technique with me, I can find it quite unnerving, because, you can't really understand from body language in any way when someone goes quiet as to what their intention is behind it. How should we handle it when we're in a situation and someone is using this sort of medium?
It can be used during a conversation or by itself. So it's not only an addition, it can be used by itself.
Yeah, I think you just used it then before you actually started to answer my question for a second.
Well, sometimes you need silence to reflect a little bit, so it's okay. What the power of silence is that it initiates conversation even between two people who don't know each other. When you're stuck in a lift with somebody that you don't know. There is communication between you. Depending on the way you stand, the way you either look at the other or you turn your back on it, and the amount of silence that exists between you. Sometimes people have a need to cough or make a little sound, when they are with somebody else. And sometimes they turn their back completely, and there is total silence for at least 2-3 minutes, which is practically intimidating.
Yeah.
Silence can be intimidating, but silence can also show a different aspect of things. It can show that you are digesting things, trying to understand them more, reflecting, thinking about the best way to formulate something. So it can be positive, it can be negative. The problem with it is that it's always a bit ambiguous because it lacks clarity. The only time where silence is very clear is when it's very aggressive silence.
Yeah.
But for the rest, there might be some information that is lost in translation.
If just a quick question on silence, if I'm actually in an interview, if I'm going for a job in an interview and I use this technique before I actually answer a question, as you said, reflect, would this be in my favor? Would it show me, would I be able to use this also as a way of a medium with the person I'm talking to as well? Giving myself a chance to answer, but also showing them that I'm not being put under pressure.
Yes. As long as it shows that you're not under pressure and that you are trying to look for the best answer possible. You're trying to really, tackle their question. Yes, but if it gets too long and too systematic, it can become boring. It can become offensive.
Yeah.
It will also depend on the person that's running the meeting and the interview. Some people are receptive to this. Some people would say, yeah, that person is trying to make an impression here, which is a good thing. But others will say that person is losing my time, and all that time that went without any discussion, without any talk, is lost. It's a negative feeling, So as long as it shows a little bit of confidence, as long as it's not very, very long, and it's not sarcastic, because it can be sarcastic, then it's a good sign. So it's a sign of reflection, a sign of somebody who is really interested and wants to make an impact.
Okay.